Hello, everybody. We've got a really good show today, Kay. What's going on?
Yeah, we've got a lovely show today. We have Wendy Lloyd Curley here to talk to us.
Yeah, we're super excited. We got Wendy Lloyd Curley here, and she's going to tell us a whole lot about her journey. So
Yes.
Did you want to start with her intro, Kay?
Yes, I did. So Wendy is a keynote speaker, author and business leader who has spent her career proving that the right relationships can change the trajectory of a business. That's a big word, trajectory. She's the author of the Amazon bestseller, Stop Wasting Your Time Networking, and creator of the Strategic Networking Masterclass, helping business owners and professionals become more deliberate about who they know, how they build relationships, and how those relationships create opportunity. Wendy has delivered keynotes and workshops across Australia, the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Philippines, combining practical strategy, storytelling, and occasionally a little rock and roll, which we'll get to later. In 2026, she earned the Certified Speaking Professional designation.
Yeah.
She is also the Executive Director of BNI Sydney Northeast, where she leads a thriving community of business owners built around referrals, collaboration, and, of course, givers gain.
Oh, we love that word, don't we?
So at
Givers
the
gain.
heart of Wendy's work is a simple belief: business gets better when people connect.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great,
Great intro.
but that's a great sentence. That's a great sentence. At the heart of Wendy's work is a simple belief: business gets better when people connect.
I really
It
like
sure
that.
does. So,
Welcome, Wendy.
yes,
Thank
welcome.
you.
Yeah.
It's
and
wonderful. I'm
nice to
here in
have
the
you here.
sunshine on a beautiful winter day.
Yes.
I know this little recording room, for those who can't see it, but it's got a lovely window here where we catch the afternoon sun, so it's quite nice. And we got that glow.
Thank you.
The afternoon glow on us, so really good. So tell us a bit about you, Wendy. My goodness, that was a good intro.
It's a pretty robust intro, but the neat thing about it is it doesn't really talk too much about the past.
Yeah.
I suppose one of the neat things that I like to tell people is that this is Wendy Mach 4 from a career perspective.
Yeah.
And so there's 3 entities of me before what you see today that really kind of created where I am today.
Yeah.
And they all are also really embedded in my core values and in what I think is important in life. So
Yeah.
one of them is hospitality. So
Whoa.
my very first job was at Burger King, where I lied about
In the
my,
US?
Yes.
Yes.
I lied about my age for the very first time for my job at Burger King because I wanted to work there after 6 p.m. And in order to work after 6 p.m., you had to be 16. But I was only 15.
Okay.
So it's the first time I lied about my age. That'll be a
I'm
theme.
sure it
Not the
wasn't-
last time.
That'll be a theme.
Yes. I think the older you get, probably
The more you lie
the
about
more you do it.
I just forget how old I am. So I tell
Oh.
people, but it's not really lying. It's just forgetting.
To be
know what?
honest, you can forget how. You
How
might
old you
not
are.
think that, but you can forget
Yeah.
how old
Do you know
are.
my great-grandmother used to say, I'm as old as my tongue and a little older than my teeth.
Yes.
Yes.
That old-fashioned say. Wow.
Anyway, so Burger King and for the next 5 to 10 years, really, I worked in hospitality. And it was a fantastic opportunity for me to learn the skills of making people feel comfortable, being a good host, looking people in the eye, being articulate and clear in my messages, but also serving, having a service perspective. And in the US, the training for people in the hospitality industry is really robust. We don't ever get put onto a floor without being tested on the menu, understanding all the aspects of the different ingredients that are put into things, and also on the way that the restaurant runs. And so whether it was Burger King or a steak restaurant that I worked in, you always got training before you were released to the public on your own. And I don't find that here. And I haven't ever seen that really here.
I think McDonald's does a little bit of it here, don't they?
I'm sure that a franchise, and that's another story.
Oh, that's
about
another
franchise.
Mark. What's that, Mark 3 maybe?
That's
Mark 4. Mark
really.
4 franchise.
But anyway, so the hospitality industry was really powerful for me. And I did it both in the US and in Australia back in the 80s and 90s. And when I was living here in Australia I guess it was 1989, I said to my husband, I said, Al, I don't think I want to be a waitress all my life. I want to go back to school. I want to figure out what I want to do. And so we looked into going to university here in Australia. I was American and on an American passport and recently married and with full work authorization, but I was still an international student. And so it would have cost me a lot of money to go to school here.
So your husband's Australian, is it?
He's Australian. Okay. And so we met in the US in 1987.
Okay.
And then we moved here after we got married in 1989. Anyway.
How old were you then, Wendy?
I was 19 when I got married, but I was 22 when I met him.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No.
Yes. I was lying about my age when I met him.
Okay.
I had a fake ID that said I was born in 1964.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I was 22 when I was really 17.
This is confusing.
The things that you do.
You really wanted to be an adult, didn't you?
I really did. Ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to be grown up. And I've always been, my mom and dad say I've always been a real independent spirit. And I can't
Still
remember
right?
not being one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, I did go back to school. And while I was going to school, I thought I was going to just get a bachelor's degree and finish. But I discovered that if you actually went to school, went to the classes and did the homework, that it was quite easy and fun. And you could score good grades and actually learn something.
So what did you learn?
I learned a lot. I got a bachelor's degree in science with an emphasis in business management.
Right.
And then I decided...
Was that the pathway in those days was through science, was it?
Well, a Bachelor of Administration or a Bachelor of Science. You could do either one in the business college, but because I did more mathematical things and I did more statistics and economics and that, it ended up being a Bachelor of Science degree.
Yeah, right.
And then I went and got a Bachelor's of Business or a Master's of Business Administration. Yep. And because I'm a glutton for punishment, I decided to do a dual master's degree and get a Master's of International Management. So I did all three of those degrees in 4 years. And I didn't need much time because, as I said, I actually went to class and I read the homework.
Yeah.
And I was really good at school. I could have stayed in uni for a long time because I really liked it. But I wanted to work. Yeah. And I wanted to work in a specific industry. So welcome Wendy Mach 2.
Ooh, what was that?
Corporate Wendy. And I wanted to work in the...
I can't see you in corporate
I know. The telecommunications industry is where I wanted to be.
Oh, yeah.
It was thriving and growing and changing in both Australia and the U.S., but I was in the U.S. at the time. And in the U.S., Alan and I decided to move from Arizona, where I went to uni, to Colorado, where we both got great jobs, really good jobs. Mine was an entry-level management job.
What, at Denver?
It was in Denver, Colorado.
Right.
And this is where another part of my networking skills developed at this company because I wasn't put into an actual department. I wasn't put into marketing. Yeah. I was put into this business development world where it wasn't sales. It was mergers and acquisitions.
Oh,
and I was actually I was actually the finance manager for the mergers and acquisitions group of this company. And we had 3,000 employees and we were a national group and we were investing in partnerships with utility companies. So if you think about this, a gas or an electrical company has a lot of right-of-ways through with all of their wires. We wanted access to the right-of-ways, and so we could put our fiber in the ground, and they would do a joint venture with us or some sort of an agreement, and we would get access to that so we could put our fiber in. It was business to business, and I would run the financial models for installing all of the capital equipment, all of the switches, all of the...
How old were you?
I would have been 25, 26 when I started this job.
Is that your true age, or were you younger?
That was my real age. But I am making it up, so it could have been something else. But I think I was mid-20s, and
Wow.
It was an entry-level management role. But because I was doing the financial models, I also had to know all of the information about the sales, the marketing,
Yes.
the customer service centers that we were going to be
You
opening.
had to have that P&L, didn't you?
Everything all the way across. And as a result, I got to interview people in every department and talk to them about the models I was creating and really get to understand the whole thing. So instead of being siloed, I was already starting to think across cultures and across skill sets.
Yeah.
And it really created a good strength for me today because I don't think in silos. I think across.
Yeah.
How long did you work for that company for?
That company was great. I worked there for 5 years.
Okay.
And my husband and I, we intentionally decided to move back to Australia. I would still be thriving, I think, if that company were still in existence, and it's not.
Yeah.
Because the telco industry went through a lot of tumultuous times.
Yeah, it had its moment.
That's another big word, isn't
Yes, it is. It's a very big word.
Tumultuous.
It's a tongue
Tumultuous
tire.
times in the
I'll
early...
say that 3 times, yeah.
And anyway, we decided in the year 2000 that we would move back to Australia. I wanted to live here. I made some really good friends while we lived here in 1988 and 89 and 90. And it was music that brought me back here. Our friends that we had made together. So they weren't Alan's friends from his childhood, and they weren't my friends from our childhood, but we met these people together. And they are very much professional musicians. And I loved the lifestyle that they led.
Yeah.
Every time we would visit, we would go on tour with them, or we'd play and we'd stay with them.
Yeah.
We didn't even stay with Alan's
What
family.
instrument do you play, Wendy?
I now play the guitar, but I didn't play anything then. I just sang along and had a good time.
Yeah, right.
I had played instruments previously. I learned the piano when I was little,
Yeah.
and my dad plays the saxophone, so I tried that for a little while. But I was always more off book. I wanted to just sing, and I've always been a singer, so I would sing along with everything they do. But I really just enjoyed the lifestyle. So that's why we moved back.
Does your husband play any instruments?
No.
Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know.
He's a great spectator.
He's a great spectator.
All right.
That's a good definition. He owns a bass guitar.
All right, but he doesn't play it.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he took 2 or 3 lessons.
Oh, right. Well, he tried.
Aspiring
He
musician.
tried.
He's a great seat warmer and fan. He
He is.
loves
All
good
right.
music.
Yeah. And he loves to, he's always there, isn't he?
He's really supportive. He doesn't come to every gig, and I don't blame him, but that's probably because he can't drink that much beer anymore.
So you still play or sing?
Definitely. I'm in a band now,
Oh.
and I perform with other people in duos and trios a lot.
Okay.
So, but my
So
band is
are we
fun.
moving into Mark 3?
No, well, Mach 3 is definitely not music, but we will move to Mach 3. So Mach 3 is when I lived in the U.S. at that company.
Yeah.
I had a really great experience, and I was there for 5 years, and I worked my way up quite quickly. And I went from being in business development to being in charge of finance. And then I was the head of strategic marketing for the company. I was the vice president of strategic
Whoa.
marketing when I left.
I love the US. They love the vice president and the chairman.
Absolutely.
And everybody has titles, don't they? They love the titles.
I've been a vice president of a US company before.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
In
it's so
Germany,
easy.
actually. Yeah.
Australia just don't do those titles, but the US really loves them. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I think we had 3 or 4 layers of vice president. I was at the lower level. Nonetheless, so I moved to Australia and I got a job at AAPT, and I worked there in their corporate environment, strategic marketing again in telco. For the first couple of years, I felt like, Nostradamus. I knew everything that was going to happen because it had already happened in the US, and we were just a little bit behind.
Yeah.
And after a couple of years, I wasn't Nostradamus anymore. I needed to think on the fly. And after 4 or 5 years with AAPT, I wasn't comfortable in a corporate environment anymore. And the Wendy that you know now probably
Was coming out. And how old would you have been around then?
Well, 33 or so, I think I remember having my 33 and a third here in
So
Australia.
do you have like 5-year cycles? Is that how you operate?
It might be.
Because some people work, I think Bambi was 10
Yeah,
or
Pamela's
8. And I know I'm around a 7. So every 7 years I kind of reinvent and do something new.
I have a lot of overlap, I find.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're about to hear a 15-year bit. So
Oh, okay.
I left AAPT.
Yes.
And that was in 2005. So yes, I would have been about 35.
Okay.
35.
Okay. Still young.
And I went to, where did I go then? I went to 7 different ideas, all of them my own. I thought I would maybe import musical instruments from afar into Australia, be an importer. I'd never done anything like
importer,
that.
exporter.
I had, in fact, never had my own business before. I'd never considered having my own business, but there I was out of work on purpose and trying to think, what could I do where I would never have a boss again or employees again?
Yeah.
I probably got burnt pretty badly.
So did you leave the job?
I left the job. I asked for and received a redundancy
Okay.
within 24 hours. And
They really wanted you out too.
well, my approach was quite bold, I think. I told them they didn't need 7 marketing directors. And they didn't. So I left.
Okay.
So you put your hand up for
I
that
put
one.
my hand up and left.
Yeah, that's a nice way to
So they
exit,
still
isn't
had
it?
6.
Yeah, they still had 6. It was a very strange company to work for. They had a lot of brands and no real umbrella strategy. So I was happy to go. But nonetheless, I was lost. And so I looked at lots of different things. And I remember I flew myself over to the US and I went to Long Beach, California, where they had international marketing environment for music. It's called NAM. It's the I don't even know what NAM stands for, but NAM, it's every year they have this where all of the musical instruments and all of the musical equipment and all of the musical providers come in, and it's a huge trade show with like 7 football fields full of equipment and stuff that people can buy, and heaps of conferences and even concerts going on.
Yeah,
It's a huge thing. Why? Because I decided I wanted to get involved in music and marketing because there were 2 things I loved. And I figured if I married the things that I loved, it would work well.
Yeah.
So I started a company called, well, it was originally called The Metronome.
Metronome.
The Metronome. It was a .com. I created my own website. I wrote a blog. I had an e-zine. This is in the year 2005.
Had a what?
An e-zine, like an e-magazine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I would publish it every 6 weeks. And I'd write articles like all about guitars and all about equipment and all about gigs that were happening. And
There's no AI to help you in those days either, was there?
Oh, no. It was all, in fact,
All Wendy's words.
it was the reason I did it was because there was no very good online resource for music. There was nowhere I could go online to find all the gigs that were happening. And I was a marketer.
You were like the drum. You remember the drum magazine?
Yeah,
Did
Drum
you like
Media.
the drum. Yeah, drum media. Yeah. Were you like that?
I wanted to put that online. And then I wanted to have a multi-relational database that had bands, artists, venues, events, music itself, and the fans all together.
Nice.
And we ended up creating that. And when I say we, I got a business partner, and her name is Sue, and she's a great friend of mine.
Yeah.
She had the same vision. We just had it in 2 different places. Mine was called The Metronome, and hers was called Hot Source.
Oh, yeah.
And after a year of running The Metronome, I met Sue. And we decided to get together.
And did you call it Hot Sauce?
We called it Hot Source.
like that.
Yeah.
I like
it was
that.
fantastic.
Yeah.
For 2 years, we worked hard together. And we made lots of mistakes.
Yeah.
And we ended up not moving forward with it because we wanted, our vision was very big. And we were both good visionaries,
Yeah.
but we didn't have deep pockets and we didn't have technical skills. And I think when you're trying to put a .com together, you need someone with a lot of money, someone with the coding capability, and someone with the vision.
Yes.
And we were both the visionaries. And so
Yes.
after 3 years of hitting our heads against the wall,
Yes.
I think I decided to back out. And that's probably a whole book. I could write a book about that experience.
Yeah.
But
Was it a good split or a...
The split was good,
Yeah.
meaning the relationship was great, but the experience was, I learned that I'm not a good business partner. And the reason I learned that, and I think Sue would agree with this, is we never fought. I wouldn't fight for my position on anything, and neither would she really. The friendship was more important than the business. And so we had scope creep. Both of us did. And we needed to not have scope creep. So
I probably shouldn't say this, but the fact you wouldn't fight surprises me. I don't know you very well, but I would think you would fight to the death for anything that you wanted.
Yeah, I would kind of want to be that way, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Just goes to show, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm very... I
So
take
how
things...
did the money survive in that business then?
Oh, that's a really good question. So
Yeah,
we
you're both visionaries and everybody's agreeing with each other and being nice.
yeah. So how did money? Is that what you asked?
Yeah.
First of all, I had my redundancy payout, so that kept Alan and me going for a little while.
Yes.
And then Sue and I were really good marketers, and she had a marketing company as well that she had run in the past. So we both presented marketing opportunities to people that would fund the technical skills that we needed to hire. So we did some really great work. There was a group called FACE, which is the Forces Advisory Council for Entertainment. And they would send the people overseas to go and entertain the troops. And because of Sue's relationship with her sister, one of her sisters was an entertainer, we became involved with the Forces Advisory Council for Entertainment.
Right.
And then they hired us to develop their website. So they paid us consulting fees. We would build their website and we'd launch it. And then we would pay technical people to build that website and under our direction. So we'd use that money then to also pay those same people to help develop the technology we needed for
your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. We also ran a really great campaign for the Children's Medical Research Institute. They have a fundraising effort every year that I'm sure you've heard of, Genes for Genes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Genes for Genes, yeah.
Well, Sue was on the board of that group, and she invited them to consider another fundraising opportunity that overlapped it called Jam for Genes. And we involved the music industry at the educational level, at the pub level, and at the club level into having at the same weekend as the Genes for Genes event, running music events that would raise money for charity. And so we had professionals doing events, we had clubs and pubs doing events, and we had kids doing them. And it was really fantastic. So they paid us to run that for them nationally, and we ran that for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you made a bit of money out of that too.
Yeah, that money it was sweat equity. It went straight back into Hot Source. And that is where the demise of Hot Source came for me.
Yes.
Because all of the money was going into there. Alan was, of course, working and doing well, but with only one income and both of us living the way we like to live, we eventually ran out of savings. And there was one day, I remember it vividly, where I was sitting at my desk at Hot Source and I realized I couldn't pay the Amex bill. And
Cold shower moment.
yeah, because, working two people in corporates, we were dinks, double income, no kids. We were, life had always been really good for us. And those 3 years just ate everything up. And that was a real moment of clarity. Well, no, it wasn't. That was a moment of concern and confusion. And my parents happened to be out about 2 weeks later. And I had a bit of a breakdown with them in an IKEA.
Oh, no. Oh, dear.
Sitting on the couches in IKEA.
Well, we were looking at IKEA. I don't even remember. We might have been looking just for a simple shelf. And I liked a couch, I think. And my dad said, well, we'll get it. I'm like, I can't afford it. He goes, we'll get it. And that hurt me. I'll let my dad buy anything for me, but only if I can also afford it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I just lost it in the IKEA. And the next day, I think they went with me to breakfast and we sat down, and over a few hours, I finally realized something I didn't realize until that moment. I could quit.
Yes.
I could stop. I didn't have to make Hot Source work. I could stop doing Hot Source. And I finished the Jam for Jeans campaign that year. And then I let Sue know that I was going to let go of my half.
Yeah.
And give it to her.
How did she take that?
Really well.
Okay.
In fact, I think we were both struggling with the scope creep was getting to both of us and the lack of skills. So
And the lack of money probably
the
too.
lack of money for both of us. I mean, she was doing fairly well and had a bit of reserve. She was fine, but I wasn't. And so, she ended up selling the rest of it or maybe giving it away. I don't know. I wasn't part of it by then, but to a group that ran band competitions, and the database was going to be great for them. And so they used the database. I mean, we did great work in Hot Source.
Yes.
And to this day, the vision is still really strong with me. I get passionate about the vision of connection. And we did all of that during MySpace and before iPhones.
I remember MySpace.
Before MySpace and before iPhones. We were thinking about all of that. And it was pretty visionary. I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to know what the next phase is going to be.
So I think we're on Mark 3. Are we moving into Mark 4?
Well, I need to say that at the very same time that I was doing all of that work with Hot Source,
Yes.
I was playing with my friend with a multi-level marketing company. And that multi-level marketing company was called PartyLite. And we sold candles and homewares, and it was completely 100% on the side.
Yes.
I wasn't doing it with any professional intent, but I was following the instructions, doing what they told me to do, and participating on a monthly basis in the monthly meetings that we had. And I was succeeding.
Yeah.
Things were going well. And so when I made the decision to stop Hot Source, I looked and assessed what I was doing with PartyLite and decided that if I actually put all of my eggs into that basket, I wondered how far I could take it. And so in 2008, I stopped Hot Source. And after 3 years of being in PartyLite, I put all of my eggs in the PartyLite basket.
Right.
And from 2008 till 2020, I ran and built the biggest PartyLite group in the country.
And was that in the US or was it here in Australia?
Well, it was originally an American company. It had expanded to Australia in 2002.
Okay.
My friend Angela learned about it in 2004.
Yeah.
And in 2004, she joined in December.
Right.
And she told me about it, which was great because it was my favorite candle company from the U.S.
Yeah.
And so I bought all the candles from her for the first 6 months that she was a consultant. Then I became a consultant. I started buying for myself. That was pretty lucrative. And then, but I was selling the whole time. And I built a team pretty early on. And she did too. We did it together for 15 years.
Wow.
And I joined BNI, which is the very tail beginning of Wendy Mach 4.
Yeah.
I joined BNI in 2011 with my PartyLite business. And I became Wendy the Candle Lady.
Yes, I remember that.
Stella Giannato is in BNI now. She created Wendy the Candle Lady. She interviewed me for a marketing strategy and developed my brand. And I rode a really good wave for 10 years with BNI. Wow. My business was about $250,000 a year in revenue when I started and was about $1.5 million a year when I finished in 2000.
Nice.
And 20. And it was really fun.
And we're talking about candles that don't have a high retail value either. What are they, $25, $30, $50?
Yeah, $50 was the most expensive candle we had, really. And
so that's a lot of candles that you had to sell, right?
Where were they made?
Yeah, they were all made in the U.S. All the accessories that we sold were made all around the world. And, the average, I always said my average customer value was $1,000. And that's because my average party was $1,000 party. So if I were to have a candle party at someone's house, that's what I did. I was like a Tupperware lady for candles.
Yeah.
I'd go to
nice
someone's
idea.
I'd go to someone's house. They'd bring their friends over. Only the friends who liked candles would come. They thought they'd spend about $50. They ended up spending about $100. And for the whole party, I'd probably have $1,000 in sales. And so every referral that I would get to a host would be $1,000 referral. But the customer lifetime value is probably much higher because they're consumable.
Yeah.
They wanted more.
They wanted more.
And once you try the best, you keep coming back. And I would encourage people to compare and contrast and see what ones you like better. And they would keep coming back. So it was a great business. And what I learned there was sales and the motivation for salespeople, which I had never understood before.
Yes.
As a marketer, I really focused on, in fact, I had a kind of a disdain for salespeople, that they needed to be bribed to do their job. And when I finally was a salesperson, I was like, yeah, bribe me. Tell me what I need to do in order to go to Mauritius, because I'll do whatever it takes to make that happen and to get the recognition. So it really did teach me a lot. And
So is that what drives you, is recognition?
well, it did in that sales capacity for sure. I loved showing my team what could be done.
Or was
So-
it competitiveness?
I'm pretty competitive. Yeah. I'm pretty competitive. I don't think it was recognition. I think it was leading by example
And giving you a goal to work towards.
and give me a goal. And those are my real keys to success on my BNI profile is always set deadlines and never stop learning.
Yeah.
And so deadlines and goals are the same thing, right?
Yeah.
In a sense, X by Y. Do
Yes.
X by Y. That's a deadline. So
what did
yeah.
the sales people need if they didn't want bribes?
well, salespeople in my world, they wanted community. BNI is about community. PartyLite was about community. And
And you obviously like the community too.
I loved it. I loved
Yes.
it. The host community was cool. The consultant community was cool. And the leader community was really cool. And all three were different, but all three are missed to this day for me.
Yes.
I really liked that part of it.
Yeah.
I don't miss being a multi-level marketing professional, but I definitely loved it. And it elevated my confidence in myself and my abilities. So I learned a lot in it. And because I truly believed in the product, it was easy.
Is that LMN, right? Sort of style business, which is that multi-level where everybody gets a clip as it goes up type of thing?
Yes.
Was that a dirty word back then? I know it's kind of a dirty word now.
I think it's always been a dirty word and still retains that because of, and this is what I would always teach my team. It's because of the way people treat it. It's because people respect and they lie about what they're inviting someone to.
Yeah, so it's the
Yeah, come to a meeting about an opportunity, and the opportunity
Yeah.
is to buy a kit. And
Yeah.
and I think that people they use misdirection to get people involved in
Yeah.
it, and that is what's created. Not everybody does either.
no, because Tupperware was the same thing, wasn't it?
Well, Tupperware's a multi-level marketing company, and if you do it right, and many people do it right,
Yeah.
you lead with the product. I have to credit BNI with that for me, though.
Yeah.
Even when I was applying to join a BNI chapter, and by the way, I assume most of your audience knows
Possibly
that BNI
not.
is Business Network International.
Yeah.
So it's a referral organization with members and chapters. So the members join a chapter and they build their business that way.
Yeah.
I went to BNI to build my consultant base, not to build my candle client base, which is exactly why MLMs have a bad name.
Yes.
They go and they approach people to join their business
To
when they
become-
know nothing about them.
yeah.
Instead, BNI had a rule. A multi-level marketing company must represent the products and services that they offer, not the business opportunity that they have.
Right.
That rule changed everything about the way that I approached my candle business, not just my membership to BNI. And it's what I wrote about when I co-wrote a book with Ivan Meisner. I was an author of one chapter in a book that he wrote. it was all around that one line in the guidelines or the policies
MLM,
of
yeah.
BNI. And it made my candle business thrive. And it
Yes.
helped me teach others, always lead with the love of the candles, and then the love of the business will follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ivan Meisner is the founder, I guess,
Is
of BNI, right?
Arbonne's a MLM as well,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so was Avon.
Yes.
And
Creative Memories was one, and
Yeah.
also Roden and Fields.
Roden and
And
Fields.
all of the companies we've just named have gone out of business as multi-level marketing companies. They've moved to affiliate sales or online sales.
Yes.
Enyo did the same
And
thing.
is that because people aren't at home as much anymore? And you can do all this online buying, and I guess we have Amazons now and
Yeah, I really
Temus
do
and
think
stuff. That's kind of changed it a bit.
I think the culture has shifted away from, and I'll be sexist because it's me, women being at home.
Yeah, it's no
And-
longer a
and-
thing as much, right?
And people don't have parties like that anymore.
Yeah.
And, my clients did, but my clients were all my age. And I was, my age and older. And
Yes.
that's who would do
Yeah.
really well. So in order to prepare for the future, I think the MLM companies needed to change.
Yeah, they were dying. They were dying just because society had moved on from
Correct.
their target market, hadn't it? Because I remember even door-to-door sales was a thing, right? Do you remember that? I remember buying a vacuum cleaner, Electrolux. I don't know if you remember those big old Electroluxes like this, and used to drag around. And I remember he knocked on the door and he showed me, and we lived in this new area. So there was a lot of sand everywhere. The grass was still growing. And I remember he just said, well, let me just show you what's in your carpet. And he did that and then pulled the bag out. It was all this sand. And I was just it was, I don't know, in today's terms, it must have been $8,000 or $9,000 to buy, and then you did it over a 2-year plan, and it was $30, and he had all the paperwork there and had the thing in the boot of his car, and I bought it, and I just remember telling my then husband, I don't even think I told him. I think I just kind of just paid it on the side, but it was extraordinarily expensive, and it was just his demonstration on the day, and he must have been a great salesman.
Absolutely. So things change, obviously,
Yeah.
door-to-door salespeople are different. The party plan models changed. Buying as seen on TV is different now. Things are different
I
because
must admit,
people
what I don't
watch.
like is all these ads you get in the morning on TV.
I don't watch
They're
TV.
just so, I don't know.
Yeah, watching morning television in any country probably, but here in particular, it's a lot of ads.
Do you think that's because they got a big audience? I haven't watched TV for so
and
long.
the problem is the quality of the ads.
Right.
They're just terrible. It's just so obvious, and they all sound the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just ugh.
But wait, there's more.
Well, they obviously get money out of it. I mean, they obviously have a good lot of people watching that time.
To be honest,
so.
I don't watch. It's Channel 10 that usually has them, and I usually watch Channel 7.
And they have less. So, Wendy, do you think that so then BNI merged out of your PartyLite business? So how did that happen?
Well, PartyLite basically changed its business model and destroyed my income. They didn't destroy all consultants' income because some people who were very active online could continue to do what they were doing. But the people who, like me, had built very large teams, and I did have a lot of income from the people that I was supporting. So that income changed. So I had to completely pivot.
Yes.
Actually coincided with when everybody else in the world was pivoting too, because it was COVID.
Yes.
And so I believe that the business model was going to change whether COVID happened or not, but it happened during the COVID.
How did they manage to just change the model? Because you would have had a contract that says, I'm getting money from all these people. So
Yeah,
did they just pay you out?
Yeah, well, no, it was an independent contracting agreement, and I have a copy of it. And believe me, I've read through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they reserved the right to change the comp plan at any time. So we were independent contractors.
It's like franchising, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, even worse than franchising, because franchising at least has a period of time. Mine was month-to-month independent contract from the very beginning. And I just didn't really expect that it would go away. To be honest, I'm quite glad, because that door I would have kept open for a long time. I had a good income coming from it, not a great income, but my lifestyle was amazing.
Yeah.
And so I probably needed that kick out. And it's what inspired me to write the book that I ended up writing.
And you're probably coming close to your end of your time of needing something new anyway. You might have been getting a bit bored.
I think that you're hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I was already thinking, should I start to consult to people about how to build a good network marketing
So you were already
company?
thinking about an exit in some sort of way.
Yeah. So when I wrote that book in order to see what kind of intellectual property I had in my head that wasn't Ivan Meisner's intellectual property. Ivan, as you said, Kay, was the founder of BNI. And I knew that if I was going to go teach people how to do networking, that I'd better have my own stories, not all Ivan's stories.
Yeah, true.
So Ivan's whole environment and all of BNI is about building a strong network. I was seeing that people didn't know how to do basic networking. And so networking with the ing at the end was really important for the differentiation. And so that book was me trying to figure out what was mine.
Yeah.
And I wrote it completely without AI. I wrote it completely with my mouth because I dictated the chapters to my Word document.
Yeah.
And then I edited the whole thing. Then I put it all together. Then I ripped it all apart. Then I edited it again. I worked with an editor who read it the first time and said, I think you need to not look at it for 2 months and then come back to it.
And for everybody listening, the book is called Stop Wasting Your Time Networking, which is a really interesting title because Wendy is the network queen.
Absolutely. But too many people waste their time doing it. They go and they just either shove business cards.
I see what you mean.
Either shove business cards in people's places, or they also go and they leave with nothing.
Yes.
They leave and they do nothing. So
I must admit, I'm a bit guilty. I go networking and I go because I like having fun and talking to people.
You just go for the community
to get work or business.
Yeah, you're going for community.
However, I will say that I've never been one to have someone tell me how I should network.
Yeah.
I think what I do naturally. I'm happy with it. I think people like me. I say that every episode in some shape or form. But for people to say you should approach people this way, you should do this. I can't actually do that anyway.
Yeah,
but that's just.
You are a natural networker, Kay. I've watched you.
Possibly.
You connect very well with people, so you're a good connector, and you like the community. And I think that's what's worked for you more than anything.
Probably.
You know?
But I'm interested. I'm going to go home and start reading this book.
Dog ear it, highlight.
Yes, definitely. I can't wait to hear what you think.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's that was Mach 4. That's how it started. Was trying to do that.
And how long's this been now? Your BNI journey? How long have you been in that?
Well, I was a member for 10 years. And then in the year 2000, when I wrote that book, I created my Strategic Networking Masterclass.
Oh, yes.
And I asked my BNI chapter if I could change categories. I couldn't be Wendy the Candle Lady anymore because I felt stupid telling people to just go to my website and buy.
Yes.
So instead, I said, I want to be Wendy the Networking Specialist. Let's create Strategic Networking Proprietary Limited.
Right.
And I did the whole shebang. I got it proprietary limited and everything. I was so convinced that it was going to work. And it did. My masterclass sold right away. I did a pilot for half price and I had wonderful results from it. I then did another round of the masterclass, and it was all on Zoom because we were in COVID. So it was working really well. I presented to my chapter membership committee. I remember telling them, this is what I want to do. By the way, I'm more than Wendy the Candle Lady. Let me tell you my backstory. I gave them all of the info about what I've just told you. And my chapter couldn't really get their head around it. They were questioning my choices and my new business, and I didn't feel that they were embracing it. And I felt I was going to have a really hard time pivoting in their minds from, I would always be introduced as she used to be Wendy the Candle Lady. And so I applied to another chapter and I moved. And I kept telling people about my new business. And one of the people I told was an executive director in Melbourne.
Yes.
And I explained to him that I thought we could be really good referral partners. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he said, I can see that. He said, but you know what you should do, Wendy? You should buy a BNI. And long story short, he was right. And I did. And I bought BNI Sydney Northeast. And I became the executive director in February 2021.
Yes.
Which was only 3 weeks after I had become a member of that other chapter.
Wow.
So
Plus,
it was...
that was COVID as well, wasn't it?
It was COVID. Every chapter was online except for one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was good timing too, because I remember the previous director was having, like, during the COVID time, I think there was a bit of illness and all of that.
I remember the previous director.
Well, there was definitely illness involved for both him and his wife. And also, they lived in the Sunshine Coast and you couldn't travel from Queensland to New South Wales. So
yeah, I don't even know how they did that for that long. It seemed like a big ask. But yeah, so what an opportunity for you that came up at about the same time, right?
It was serendipity for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm really, so I've been doing that for 5 years now. And strategic networking took a back seat for a little while.
And now you're bringing it back.
Yeah, I'm bringing it back. I've kind of revamped it as a lady came up to me when I was MC for the BNI conference in Perth.
Oh, yes.
She said, Wendy, you're really good on stage. You should do this for a living. And I said, I love being on stage. It's fun. I'm on stage with my band and I enjoy it. And I love presenting, but I've never been a professional speaker. Yeah. I've always just been a public speaker. And she said, you should definitely do that. She said, you're American, aren't you? And I said, yeah. She said, you could do that for 2 months in the U.S. and take the rest of the year off because they pay a lot for MCs.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's where
And there's a lot more conferences and stuff over there than what we have here in Australia, right? So it's so much easier to probably get work over there too.
Yeah, possibly. But the main thing is it planted a seed for me to get involved in public speaking as a professional.
I remember when you went over there and did the course.
Yeah.
And then the rock and roll.
Yeah, everything started after that. So that's my side hustle. I love
rock and roll.
Yeah, I love running the BNI and I love speaking professionally and I love being in my band. So I harmonize all three of them together.
Yeah, one of your comments here was balance isn't possible. Have a harmonious life.
Yep. Yeah, you got to be able to do all things that you like.
And I think you're probably behaving true to your own self, like you are a high I and stuff, and high I's just love variety. And you're obviously a double people person. So you love that being around people and community and everything. And you love that, I guess, that stage presence, you know, you've always loved that, probably even as a kid. And you're actually incorporating all of that into your life. So, I mean, it's a pretty happy marriage, isn't it? With all of that, it's sort of meeting all your needs type of thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Do you want to explain what high I means for the audience?
Oh, yeah. So that's part of the DISC profile that you have. And a high I basically means influencer. And that means that you are pretty much a people person, less of a task person. Hence, I'm a high I as well. Hence, we don't govern our lives around a clock. So we don't actually need time doesn't really worry us.
That's
if
why
someone else
is
late. Yeah, I'm always late too. But I'm like only a little bit late. But it's like I don't mind other people being a little bit late. Whereas people like my mum was so strict on like, you got to turn up on time, you know. And she called that very disrespectful, and it probably is. But it's like, at the same time, when you're not governed by time, it's you're living in a different kind of world to people that are governed by time or enjoy that time. And it's really hard for people like us to try and fit everything in. And that's our problem. We try and do it all, you know, and I'll just fit that in and then I should still have time. And we're like racing against time instead of working with time type of thing. I don't know.
I say yes more often than I should. I know that.
Yes, because we like the adventure in it as well.
My husband does laugh at me. He says, you're trying to fit 28 hours into a 16-hour period.
I think Crystal's trying to do the same thing as well. I've noticed that recently.
Yeah, I have been. But I do enjoy a certain amount of that as well. And then if you do the strengths profile, my number one strength is action. And then my second one is adventure. And what ends up happening is that I love actioning things And then, but I say yes to too many things, right? And then my adventure starts because then I've got to deal with all these things that lack, hence the podcast.
Yes.
I'm still trying to do this or trying to do that. And then you end up like having your adventure you didn't need to have. But it's, but you know, it's kind of, that's what keeps me ticking, you know, and gets me out of bed.
So, Wendy, you also said, don't do business alone.
Oh.
What did you mean by that?
And isn't that interesting? Because I talked about not liking having a partner.
Yes.
Well, don't do business alone. It took me a long time to figure out that I needed to delegate. Okay. And I have I'm so lucky. I have such a great virtual assistant team, a big one, actually. Mm-hmm. And you know, I've got a financial planner. I've got an accountant. I've got a bookkeeper. I've got a marketing team working on my strategic networking and a marketing team working on my BNI. And I also, I couldn't be even close to where I am without having a good director and ambassador team in my BNI world. And growing that team is really important to me and also to them. I think the camaraderie that we have as a group is important. Yeah. And I don't like to work alone, even though I like to make the decisions. I like to set the tone and the culture. But I really do love to work with people. Yeah. I would never want to be in a solo band, like just me and a guitar and singing. No. I much prefer singing with someone. Hence
the community again, right? I reckon that's your number one strength as well, like being around community.
I think it is. It is.
Big community. Value as well. Yeah, I could see that. We just touch on partnerships again. What would your tips be for people going into a partner? What would you recommend that they do, seeming that you have had a few partnerships?
Well, first of all, partnership can either be the formal term partnership or it can be like a strategic partnership where you're not.
Let's go more the formal.
Okay, the formal, really talk about everything before you get involved. It's more of a marriage than people realize. And so I don't think husbands and wives do this well either. Yeah. Talk about what could go wrong to avoid it as well as to prepare for it. Yeah. And you really do need to ask all of the questions. You know, when you're thinking about your will and estates for your marriage, you also need to think about the will and estates for the company. Yep. And so I think it's really important to be super open and honest with each other. And I believe do trials before you get the ring. Yeah. And I know I'm using that metaphor a lot, but before you form a full partnership, make sure you really, 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 really like each other and know what will happen if things go wrong.
Do we really, really, really like each other, Crystal?
You need a prenup, basically.
You need a prenup, don't you? And I think it's interesting because so many businesses, you know, go into partnerships, but I'd say, I've read, it's around like 89% of partnerships fail. And it's because I think you go in with rose-colored glasses and great ideas.
And good skill sets.
And good skill sets, potentially. And it works for a while. But then when something goes wrong or someone feels like they're working for too many hours and you don't have all that in, you know, you haven't worked all that out, I think that's when it can end up really ugly and it can really end up ruining a really, really good friendship as well. So it's not the best on that. And what mistake taught you the most about all of these businesses? What mistake have you?
There's recent mistakes and there's past mistakes. This is just advice to anyone. Don't overextend yourself financially in business and always be able to say no. Yeah. I think that you can get yourself into situations that you can't get out of when money's involved. Yeah. And this actually is back when I was an employee. Alan and I both had good jobs, both had good money. But if one of us had wanted to leave their job for any reason, ethical dilemma or dissatisfaction or unhappiness, we couldn't because we had a mortgage that was as big as both salaries. So I think that That's just a really smart thing. Live within your means and live within them well enough to have a buffer to be able to make smart decisions when you need to. I'd say that was the hardest time in my marriage, was when I felt trapped to stay in the company that I was in.
Yeah.
Even though I loved the company, I still felt trapped. And I think he did too.
I felt trapped in businesses over here. My visa was tied to my job.
Yes.
And my job was stressful. So that was hard.
Yeah.
Because if I'd left my job, which I actually did, I'd lose my visa, which I did. Then I met my husband.
And I'm wondering how many business owners feel trapped in their business.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know, like they feel like they owe it to their staff, or
that might be a title for a podcast. Do you feel trapped in your business?
That's a great title.
Yeah, because I think it's true. It's true, isn't it? Like you do, and sometimes you can be trapped by debt as well. So that can be really, really hard to get out of as well.
Remember too, I didn't think about leaving Hot Source until I realized that I could. I don't think that we give ourselves credit for having choice. We have choice, and that's something I've learned in my 57 years, which is the real age. In my 57 years, realizing that every day I have a choice, and I can make different decisions if I want to.
I really like that, because I feel like I live my life a bit like that too. So I know I've always got a choice to say no or to say yes, but I've always got a choice whether I want to. And if I want to like back 20 things in one day, that's my choice to do it, you know, and I've got no one to complain to other than myself, right?
Correct.
And I think what I really like, and I think some of the pop culture books and stuff like that, pop psychology books sort of teach you, is taking ownership of yourself and your life and ownership of what you do. And then you never feel like a victim, do you? Because you have to own it. You can't blame anybody. You can only blame yourself for it. And that belief of if you're in a bad partnership or whatever, you've created 50% of that. It's never entirely somebody else's 100% thing. So I think having those really strong boundaries and just thinking like that has been great. But Wendy, looking back, what was the hardest part of your journey that people didn't see? So I know you've touched on a couple of things, like in Hot Sauce, that was really hard. I'm sure Candle Lady was hard, especially at the end. I'm sure that was very, very hard, realizing they could take your business away like that. And what else? What part of your journey do you think? Because you've had some really big moments and then really like sharp ends, right? And then you merge, and then you already had something else going and then moving in, and then another sharp end. So I'd say there'd be some moments of reflect.
I think learning is something that I truly believe in, just continuously learning. And I'm not sure that I could add to the story that I've already told about the hard times, like different things than what you've already pointed out. But I will say that what gets me through any hard time is breath. Breath.
Like to breathe in and out.
Breathe in and out. It's a meditation. It's a way of regrounding. And there's several resources that have changed the way that I've thought. And I've found out after the fact that they were probably all related to NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And when I realized that, you guys are about my age. Do you remember transactional analysis?
Yes.
Back, it's the child, the adult, and the parent, I think.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. And my parents were really into that. My parents are hippies. They're probably going to listen to this, so I can say that. and they're hippies. And
we like a good hippie era.
Yeah, I mean,
they were children of the 60s, weren't they? So
they were
50s.
They were both born in the early 40s. So
40s. They were the start of the hippie gen.
They should have absolutely been hippies, but my dad was an engineer as well, so
they were be a hippie when you're an engineer.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, but never mind. I digress. What I mean is, I think that started me. Transactional analysis probably started me on this NLP journey, because I think it's all about
It's all the same
similar
thing.
things. So
Yeah.
the
I think
breath.
Jim Rohn back in the day, back in the 50s and 60s, and that was talking about that stuff then
way
too.
in advance of some of the breakthroughs that we've had now.
Yeah.
So I have been NLP certified by someone who I met through BNI, and that was life-changing as well.
Yeah.
And being able to take a situation and just reground and breathe through it. So as a singer, breath is really important.
Yeah.
As a human, breath is critical. And as a grounded person, I think I've always returned to breath. So I could tell a short story about what happened to me on Saturday. I was at a book launch. I've written another chapter in another book.
Okay.
I was at a book launch and I was about to present to that group. And we had about a half an hour before everything was going to start, and my FaceTime went off. And it was my mom, I think, or my dad. And I thought, oh, well, it's a beautiful day. I'll take the FaceTime outside and I'll say hello.
Could everybody hear?
Everybody could hear, but I was by myself. So I went into the sun. I sat down on the grass. I said, don't worry. It's okay. I'm by myself. And it was a family meeting. And my mom has been diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, dear.
And it was immediate emotional impact. She's 84. She's never had cancer before. And we've never dealt with this as a family before, but the four of us, my brother, me, my mom, my dad, had that talk. And when I hung up the phone, I sat there and I knew it was breath that was going to get me ready to go back into the room. So I breathed, but I intentionally through the nose, out the mouth, and grounded again.
Grounded again.
So
do you think that's what helps you? Because you seem to be a person who seems to have very good resilience.
I think it's all breath and all that mindset. The mindset that it's my choice, so my accountability.
Yeah.
I've put me here. I'm going to deal with it. I can move forward.
How did your mum tell the story if she's been through that TIA process? And how is she dealing with all of this?
Super well. We did get they are still going to travel to Australia next month.
Oh, great.
They're going to do the surgery after. It's slow growing. The diagnosis is positive.
Great.
They're going to take it out. They're going to do some radiation. They believe that they'll be able to get all of it and not do chemo. You know, there's
really
some really good things. But how did she take it? Probably numb, and then acceptance, and then clarity. Get the clarity from the doctor.
Yeah.
And we had a chat before she went into the doctor, and I said, let's make a list of all of the questions you want to ask them so that you don't forget them. And you go into the doctor and no matter what, ask all the questions that you have. And
so good.
Breath. Yeah.
Breath. Sounds like she's got a good breath as well, right?
I think so.
I'm going to ask Wendy another question. What's something you believe today that you didn't believe when you first started?
Ooh. When I first started.
So what's something you believe today that you didn't believe when you first started?
That is such a good question.
Difficult one to answer, I think.
It is, especially if you don't prepare, which I probably could have done. No, but I'm going to answer it. I'm going to answer it because I really believe today that not everybody can be successful in their business. Whereas I think I would have said in the past, everybody can do whatever they want to. But I really don't think everybody can. They have to have the right open mindset and a learning mindset.
Yes.
And I think they'll be happier if they do that. So, and I'm saying that thinking about business owners who I deal with every day in not only my BNI world of members, but the people who come into it.
Yeah.
They unless they have that learning mindset, they probably can't succeed.
Yeah.
You know, I really love that comment that not everyone can be successful in their business. And I feel like that is just so true because sometimes you're just not made for that. Or you can't handle the stress of it, or you can't handle the ups and downs and you need a bit of grit. You got to go, it's not every time, it doesn't always work out, right?
No.
And you're going to have ups and downs, and it's going to be hard, and you're going to have, come to Jesus moments and all that. And I feel like that's so true, right?
Yeah. And it must be, as a business coach, it must be frustrating to be able to, you might know that about someone, but not.
I've actually tell people, if I really, really feel like they're struggling in a certain part of their, or if they're just struggling in business per se, and I've actually helped 2 people exit out of their business and to go and help them find, go get a job. And we've sort of talked about what they could go into. And I check in on them every now and again and just see how they go. And they are just so happy. And often they could keep, one was in e-commerce, and he kept that business. And I said, even if that pays for an overseas holiday once a year and that's all you get out of it, how good's that?
Yeah, have that be a side hustle rather than the one that's causing all the stress.
Yeah, and he said, we've just come back from Europe and we had such a great time. And guess what? That business paid for it, And I thought that was just so good. But I think sometimes people just need to be given that permission again.
I was going to say it's probably a relief.
Oh, it was such a relief.
You allowed them to do that.
Yep.
Whereas they wouldn't have, without you, they probably wouldn't have been able to.
That's right.
Or their business would have gone into the ground, and they would have ended up in a much worse mental state.
Yeah, it's very
emotional. Feeling like failure. Whereas I think they left not feeling like a failure. Whereas you can feel like a failure, and that's not a nice feeling when you're feeling like that.
I mean, your business, you put your heart and soul into it, and so you don't want it to die.
Yeah, it's a baby
when you realize that it's probably the best thing that could happen for it, then you need to be able to move on from that. But that, I guess, would be what I used to believe is that anybody could do it, and I think there's some that can't.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I don't want to end like that. Please ask better. Ask a friendly one.
That'd be a good way to go, yeah. Ask a friend a question.
Yeah.
All right, Kay, one last question. What do you think? That's where you bring this into land.
Well, I wasn't expecting to have to ask a final question, so that's a surprise.
No, but Wendy had some questions there. So
well, I've actually asked most of them.
Oh, okay.
One of them, and I won't, I was going to say, no, let me think of something else.
Number 9.
Yes, if you were starting again tomorrow, what would you do differently?
Oh, wow. I would realize that I could be a business owner. Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. My dad had a job at Motorola. My job, I never in my entire childhood thought about starting a company.
Mm.
Never. Even through my MBA program, it was always to get a job and to work my way up to be a CEO of a multinational company that would still have a board of directors, right?
Yep.
And I really think that if I had to start over again, I would start a business much, much earlier than I did.
Yep.
It was wonderful to do it.
I think people just don't even think, I didn't growing up, that I could be a business owner. Never occurred to me.
No. I think kids that grow up in an environment where people do run their own businesses, they see it, so they might be more likely.
I grew up in that.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me to, people go, oh, you just run a business. And I go, but I don't know anything else. It was not that hard or big a decision. It was just like, that's what I've got to do, or that's what I'll do. It wasn't like this big moment, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to have my own business. And I'm under no illusion at how hard it is. I've failed in some. I've done well in some. I've had to get out of some. I've had to start some.
Yeah.
So I've probably done it all. But yeah. And I understand people who have had corporate lives and then they suddenly have to start a business. It's a huge shock to the system when you first have to do that, because it's like, it's not easy, is it?
Not easy.
No, not easy. You need a community around you.
Yeah. Yes.
You need to learn from others.
Yep.
And you don't do it alone.
I will say this. When I first started my bookkeeping business, franchise, they trained me, got cert for in bookkeeping, started the business. They had a marketing fund that they gave us, and they suggested going and joining a BNI.
Oh,
So
did they?
from the first day I started business, I joined, and I'm so glad because I had that support network there for me. And I was a very shy, quiet person. And it also helped me to learn how to stand up in front of an audience.
Yep.
And
Would you have seen yourself doing this when you started?
No, never.
What? Like talking like never?
Never, ever.
Really?
But yeah, surprise.
Well, there you go. Okay. Look how far you've come.
Right. So
I love it.
Yeah. Well done. Well, thank you so much, Wendy. And you've been listening to Crystal and Kay at Small Business Sorted.